Mom. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Katie Toro. I am the co-lead for the new RevUP Alabama. I am a first-generation American, so I'm a proud voting American. I'm the very first one in my family. I was actually originally, since my parents were not legal at the time, I ended up in the foster system. So I, from birth, was in the foster system. I found my biological parents in my 20s. That's when I found out I'm a first-generation American. So I live in Morgan County. I've lived in Morgan County since '98. I'm originally from South Florida, so I've seen the world of urban life and now rural life. And I have stayed here because I wanted to continue to help Alabama grow because I see what it can do after living in Florida for so many years. So with that, I work for a center for independent living in North Alabama, Disability Resource Network, as a peer advocate. I became that because in college I really got involved in advocacy. I was the student rep for people with disabilities on college campus, and I moved up to the state level. This is actually my first time down here because for many years I did not have the ability with transportation to come to the front. I was always behind the scenes speaking up for people with disabilities. As the co-lead for RevUP, it's a movement of disability advocates for voting rights. However, that involves every type of barrier that is put in place with us. That includes transportation, that includes health care, that includes education, that includes just daily living. There have been days where I saw other people living their day-to-day life, and I was stuck at home with no transportation and no way to get to a voting poll to be able to vote against and for different bills out there. There's been times where I went to go to vote and the handicap parking was blocked. I couldn't even get into a parking space to go in to vote. When I remember the very first time I voted, they put me at a table in the center of the room with zero privacy. They don't even know if the machines work for people to vote in these polls. So as a RevUP co-lead, there are somebody in every region of Alabama on our lead team. And I am willing to go out there and help these regions to make sure that we can break these barriers. Because I hear in my work every day, why should I vote, Katie? They don't care what we have to say. So we gotta break these barriers so people with disabilities can get out there and vote for and against these bills. So we can we say we're a free country and we're one nation, but we need to become one nation and one country and get Alabama on the same page. I am one in my county right now, in my city. When I see something about housing or transportation or any topic, the first thing I say is, do you have the disability community in mind? And if they say yes, I say, can you please elaborate? You can tell me yes all day long, but I want you to elaborate. So with that, This is why advocacy is important for people with disabilities. This is what RevUP's about, is to help these individuals to learn how to have their voice. There was once I didn't have a voice. I was a very shy kid. I was one of those kids that people would say, Katie, be quiet, you're talking too much, because I never spoke when I was a child. I had to find my voice. And see, as RevUP, it's to help individuals with disabilities to find their voice, because one thing is that people with disabilities are kept quiet. So, I've noticed they don't know, because out of sight, out of mind. So it's time for us to raise our voices, to get out there and let them know that we're out there and that we need to break these barriers down so everybody else can get out there. 1 in 3 adults in Alabama have a disability. 1 in 3. And it is time that our voices are heard. Judy Heumann, who is the mother of disability rights, who passed away last year, said, I want to see feisty people with disabilities change the world. When I was conceived, I was not planned. Doctors told my parents to abort me. They were trying to silence me before I was even born. And I believe today that I was put on this world to be a feisty person with a disability, to change the world for the generations after me.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Manuel. I am the affiliate president of the National Federation of the Blind of Alabama. I also serve on the National Board of Directors. I serve as a member of the board of the Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters. We are an advocacy organization, the National Federation of the Blind. We have been in existence in the state of Alabama since 1942, advocating for blind individuals. I daily almost get phone calls from blind people who wants to know, I recently went blind. What will I do? A lot of times people think that their life is over. We're here to let them know you still can live a productive, quality life with the proper training and tools. You can be proficient in just about everything that you want to do. We constantly get information, get calls from parents of blind children wondering, my child is maybe 9 or 10 years old, sometimes even older, and within the public school system, and they do not know how to read. These are things that we can change in the state of Alabama. Speaking of voting, there are so many barriers within the polling places, even with the accessible voting machines. Most of the time you go to several of these locations, the workers do not know how to operate the machines, don't know how, they're usually not even turned on. They're covered up somewhere in a corner. I've even went and expressed this to the judge. And I was told all of my workers have been trained. And my statement was, yes, they probably was trained, but this is what I experienced. And I just wanted them to know that we are here. We're not going anywhere. We want the same opportunities as other individuals. Transportation. Katie mentioned about being out of sight, out of mind. You're keeping us out of sight. No transportation in the state of Alabama that we can access to go to doctor's visits, to visit family and friends, grocery stores, to cast our ballot, and the list goes on and on and on. The National Federation of the Blind in the state of Alabama have 7 chapters across the state. Those chapters are in Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, Huntsville. We have an at-large chapter, Tuscaloosa, and the other one escapes me, but we have 7 chapters here. So we're all across the state, and we're constantly looking for blind or low vision individuals to come and help us with this push. Not only blind and low vision, we have a lot of sighted members throughout the state and all across the county who catch our visions and realize that we have lack of sight. We still have vision. So we're here, and we want everyone to know that we will be here. And I am so excited about having this opportunity to work with my fellow differently abled individuals as we push this lift forward to change things for the disabled community in the state of Alabama. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jenny Serena Lux. I am a white Caucasian female with long curly blonde hair put up in a twist. I have multiple developmental disabilities, with the main one being legally blind, low vision, due to a birth defect. I work in the field of disability rights and resources in Birmingham. I cover 20 counties there, but I work from home. I live in Huntsville, Alabama. So I'm a remote worker. Praise the Lord for that. But I provide others with resources and advocating for them by researching and providing necessary resources to others. And I work as part of a team of advocates, just like our RevUP coalition. I am also a class of 22 graduate of Partners in Policymaking Alabama. That's a group that teaches both people with developmental disabilities and or their caregivers how to communicate and advocate alongside the lawmakers to create laws and policies that are beneficial to all. As part of the RevUp leadership team, my goal is to utilize and share learned skills to promote human rights in our communities. Now, let me flip this. I want to leave you with a quote from Judy Heumann, the mother, as Katie introduced you to, of the disability rights movement. Her book, Being Human, is a prime example of how we can overcome adversity at all levels. And the quote goes like this: when other people see you as a third-class citizen, the first thing you need is belief in yourself, the knowledge that you have rights, and the next thing you need is a group of friends to fight back with. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Jones. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I have a nonprofit organization, and I'm so very proud of Alabama teaming up with other advocacy organizations which provide voter education, registration, and rides to the polls. My organization is founded on collaborations with other organizations. I have been a part of advocacy groups for a long time. As a community activist, advocate, I'm a registered farmer. I am also disabled. So I was a woman in Alabama who always fought for Medicaid expansion. Because I don't have children, I wasn't afforded the opportunity for health insurance. I had a stroke. My brother revived me at home. That's when I was able to get disability. I used to stand in lines at 4 a.m. to go to medical outreach, which provided me medical services and my medication. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford all of the medications that I was and am still on and the treatments. So I thank God for charitable organizations who advocate for the disabled. So it was a non-brainer for me to partner with RevUP in helping advocate for voters who are disabled to not only get to the polls, but to educate them on candidates by having voter registration, efforts to provide transportation for disabled voters, as well as voter ID, provide voter ID through the Secretary of State's office. This collaboration and new partnership with the League of Women Voters in Alabama and RevUP Alabama, by way of all these organizations, is going to be a catalyst for change, in my opinion, for disabled voters. Because now we have unified, we have come together for one common goal of making equitable accessibility for our disabled community, to register to vote, to educate voters, and get them to the polls. Alabama ranks, I was reading, 45th out of 50 for the ease of voting. In a quote, Secretary of State Allen said that his job is not to turn people out. That is the job of candidates, to make people excited to go to the polls. So the disenfranchisement of transportation, voter ID, is nothing to get excited about when the disabled is often left out of the equation. So with advocacy organizations like ours, I think we're going to make a difference at the polls, because we do go vote. We do go vote. Our voices cannot be suppressed by oppressive legislation. We're here, we're going to stay here, we're going to organize better and more efficiently to come to this State House to let it be known RevUP Alabama is here not only for those with visible disabilities, but those with invisible disabilities like mine, and those who are often overlooked. That's what we're here to do, to garner collaborations with all available advocacy groups who want to make a difference, to make it more accessible to vote, to make our inputs in legislation, which may seem to not be given a voice from those of us who have disabilities, who know what it is to go through something. So I'm very proud of us coming together, collaborating. I'm just so excited. I'm just trying to contain myself because I've been working or collaborating with RevUP Alabama for so long. I'm just grateful that we have this opportunity now for my state, not only to be, let me tell it, #1 in football, but to be #1 in advocating for our disabled community. And I think we're growing, and I think we're going to set the bar high for other states, because we are the great state of Alabama. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Any questions?
So what are kind of the policies and things that you're going to start advocating for right now that you formed?
Well, right now, 207. We really want 207 to be passed. If you don't know what House Bill 207 is, let's take a look. I should have been a teacher, somebody's teacher, but I'm not. But 207 is the current law only allows a voter to deliver their own absentee ballot applications and absentee ballot package. So 207 will amend the existing law to allow hand delivery or mailing of an absentee ballot by an individual who has been designated by a disabled, blind, or illiterate voter. The individual would deliver them to the county absentee election manager, who typically is the circuit clerk. Here in Montgomery is Gina Ishman, and she's very good and have been to several of our events, my organization events sponsored by RevUP for the disabled education registering, and the new or the modified voting machines with I call them all my probate judge and our election center manager. So they are already active in Montgomery County, and I pray God that all other counties, probate judges, election center managers, and circuit clerks fall into suit by providing collaborative efforts to demonstrate to disabled voters how the machine works, absentee ballots, and emergency ballots, and what they need to do.
And how long has RevUp been in existence?
I do not recall exactly how long they've been in existence.
There are 20 chapters now. This is the 20th chapter.
He said, how long have they been? You talking about RevUp Alabama?
No, RevUp.
Overall.
The overall, I'm sorry. I'm not, don't have that specific answer.
Is this the
This, I believe it was in the 90s because I was looking at my phone earlier and to make sure I was speaking right. And we're the newest chapter,
okay?
Alabama. The goal is to at least get all the southern states and then grow from there. So we're growing day by day, and we just launched. So we're next step is a website and get some social media going. That's my next goal.
How many partners are within RevUp right now in Alabama?
So Disability Resource Network is our individual who's partnered up with us, and we have several disability agencies who have partnered up with us. I don't have all the names in front of me. There's several.
Rough number?
There were several, they're in that press announcement.
Yeah, they're in the press
But then
announcement.
the League and SPLC and the NAACP are partners with the disability organizations.
So when we say fresh, we
We're
mean
fresh.
we have started we may have individually in our organizations partner with RevUp, but collectively we're about a month collectively starting an Alabama chapter of RevUp Alabama
We just
collectively.
we just got our leads set like not even just 2 weeks ago.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
it's
we're very fresh to make sure that we had them all in order, and then we got on the ball with this for today. And next step is to continue forward and make sure we get our websites up, our social medias up, and get out there and rev up, educate. We're big on educating because, like I was saying earlier, is a lot of people I didn't even know. They don't teach you it in school about voting when you have a disability. So it's getting out there and teaching these people and teaching them about absentee ballots, because I work for the Center for Independent Living. A lot of them don't even know they can have a absentee ballot. So education is going to be right now the best route probably to take, because a lot of them don't know. Do you mind if I speak real quick? I would say education is going to be our key thing. Now, something the public can do to help us is if they see a violation, like if they see that the voting machine is not out at their polling place that is for the disabled, they can call a number called 1-866 Our Vote. Is that correct, Kathy? Okay, great. I remembered. But it's very important because that is a national organization. They will reach back out to each of the centers or each of the cities, to the judge, and they will see about fixing said problem. It's a very good way for the public to help us record and report what is or isn't being done.
I'd like to also say, while voting is definitely our premier initiative, we will be focusing on other topics as well, transportation, as well as other things that disabled people face throughout the entire state of Alabama. We encourage each of you, if you to get the word out, as Jenny stated. We're new here in the state, and we want to get the word out to all of our disabled counterparts, to let them know that we're here, and we need them to work with us. Numbers have power. Like I said, we just started. We're few in numbers now, but we plan for that to be changing quite quickly. Another thing we want to do is build those relationships, more relationships with the legislators. Those people who are here making decisions that positively or adversely change our lives. And unfortunately, most of the time it's adversely. But because I honestly believe in most cases, they don't know. That's why we're here. We're going to let them know what we're all about. We're going to let them know we want a seat at the table. And we're going to ask them nothing about us without us.
Like I said earlier, 1 in 3 in just the state of Alabama has a disability. That's just in Alabama.
And when we talk
And
about
so there's a lot more than what we see every day. So our goal is to get out there, educate, and let them learn that they have a voice too, and find out where the problems all are. Every county is going to have their problems. However, they're all going to have their similarities too, because we're in Alabama. So our goal is to take those, like we were just discussing this week, is to take those in those counties and look at the research behind it and the methods behind it, and take it to try to find a solution so that we can make it more inclusive for everybody in every county.
and we want to ensure that the polling precincts are accessible. I was having issues coming out of my precinct, and sometimes you have post-stroke issues going on. So I'm walking out, and my leg didn't want to cooperate. My left leg didn't want to cooperate with the right, and I almost stumbled. So I reached out to grab what I thought was going to be the stair rail. It wasn't there. So we need to look at polling precincts, which in my city and county change per election. The city council votes on which precincts every election. So it's not a consistent place in the city of Montgomery. I don't know how other cities operate. However, we do need to build our disabled community to go out and look at and assess, do an audit of the election precincts to ensure that, just like me, I have an invisible disability. I don't walk with a cane. I don't know when is a good day or a bad day for me, when my body wants to operate and cooperate. So we have to stop the assumption that disabled means you're in a wheelchair. Because some people look at me and think, oh, she's fine. But how many state representatives and senators have invisible disabilities? And so those disabled state representatives should be the first one to join RevUP Alabama to collaborate on efforts to make it accessible and the ease of voting for us in our great state. I would love for state representatives and state senators to boldly come out. They don't have to be specific on what their disability is, but let people know every disability isn't the same. And one thing Fire Rose Teray says is every issue is a voting rights issue. And it truly is a voting rights issue, every issue that we face.
With all these voter rights problems and issues and barriers, do you think that online electronic voting, where you can vote on your phone, your tablet, your computer at home, would be better?
It depends on the individual.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to expound a little. I wanted to talk a little also about the absentee voting process. As a blind person living in the state of Alabama, as it stands now, I cannot cast an absentee vote. Most of you in here know the process that it takes to cast that vote. There are multiple steps, multiple hoops you have to jump through. And as a blind person, we can't do that. There was a bill passed recently, the SB1, which definitely would have taken not only blind people, but everybody who needs assistance to cast their vote in the state of Alabama would not have had that assistance. But SB1 started this session, well, it came out this session, and it was immediately, I think it ran through the process and became a bill in the state of Alabama. There were some provisions for disabled people, but those provisions still does not allow me as a blind person, a print disabled individual, to cast a private independent vote as other individuals. We want that same opportunity. I can say back in 2020, we went to the Secretary of Maryland at that time, his office. He indicated that he would work with us to make this happen. We went all the way up until July of we started the process in 19. In 2020, July, everything was pulled off of the table. Therefore, we went back to the drawing board. So now they're stating that there are all type of, we want to see an electronic voting process for the disabled. We have the technology, the tools at our disposal that we can cast a private independent vote. And it also already exists here in the state of Alabama for our military overseas. They have the platform where they can provide an electronic vote. When we request this, they state that it is insecure. If it is insecure for the disabled, how can it be secure for our military overseas voters? These are things, this is just one of the many barriers that we face within the blind community. We want the same rights, the same privileges as anyone else. That's all we're asking for. We want to be treated fairly, whether it's blindness, whether you're in a wheelchair, or other unseen disabilities. We're here. We're human. We want to be treated fairly. We want to educate everyone to let them know that these barriers exist. A lot of times people don't even realize they exist. But this is one of the reasons why RevUP is here in Alabama. And I know that we are going to make some positive changes. And as I stated earlier, the numbers will grow. We will have disabled as well as other individuals helping us lift this tremendous load to change the pendulum and let the pendulum swing in the right direction for disabled individuals in the state of Alabama.
And we're learning from each other because Ms. Barbara, you were telling us earlier that there are no Braille ballots in Alabama. Is that?
That is correct, and I went a step further to say if there were they going to create jobs for all blind people? Because when those are turned in to the individuals, does anybody there know how to read Braille? There's so many uneducated suggestions that come forth. Like I said, that's why we are here.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. And this
Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.